Today's my birthday. I'm turning 26. It's September 30th. I was born 26 years ago, obviously. I don't know why I had a little bit of a brain fog there. I guess the early offset Alzheimer's is, making its way through my body. Let's knock on wood so that doesn't actually become the case, because I feel like that would be a really, really shitty way to go out. Not as bad as like falling into a volcano and just dying, though it would be quicker. I don't know. For some reason, when I was a young kid, I always was like thinking that was probably like highly probable that I would die in that way. I don't know why. Anyway, why are we talking about death? I'm only 26 now. I'm only 26. But every year, I'd like to make a video where I kind of reflect on the past year and how I feel coming into my new age. For this past year, suitingly, I always really identified with being 25. It was an age that I had. This sounds so silly to a lot of people because whole part of life is getting older one year at a time. But for me, being 25 was seen as like a really like important milestone for me, especially in my faith, in my background, from my community. Age 25 is like when you become a full adult, and of course there are all of these milestones that are supposed to be happening for you: house, marriage, children. Obviously, being Gen Z, not all of that is going to be readily available for everyone, and it's unfortunately, or fortunately, hasn't been the case for me. So if you guys don't know, because I've been moving around a lot and I've been a little bit sluggish on posting videos lately. So the last video you saw of me, I was in Amsterdam. Right now I am in London, but the past summer I've been going back and forth between London and Oregon. And when I say back and forth, I mean I spent the first part of my summer in London and the second half in Oregon, and that was an amazing time for me. It was a great time to reset. Do my best to reset. Keep in mind, I was still writing my dissertation at the time. But anyway, I digress. I've always felt like 25 was just one of those like special years for me, and this is more so coming from like, I don't know, I am kind of like I'm kind of was looking back over 25 years. I am pretty content with my life decisions and what I've been able to do. I really had a difficult childhood, and it was not easy, and it was really difficult in that time to be able to envision myself here now doing all right, and feeling like he has a new lease on life. I am happier than I have been in a long time. I feel like my old self, but a better, more improved version of it. And, that was not easy. It took a lot of hard work. I quite frankly thought that the place I am right now would be the place where I would have been, 4 years ago when I was 21. And as we know, like, the pandemic changed everything. It changed everything, and it completely derailed my life for 4 years. Like, the ramifications of lockdowns and everything, it really effed up everything about what I was trying to accomplish and what I was doing and what my priorities were. Now, I had a lot of introspective moments, thoughts, like many of you guys did during that time, but it was still a fight to get back to a place where I had never been, but where it felt familiar. And that's how I feel like I am my old self, but also feel that I am far from it. I've gone around the curve so much that I've done like 180 degree, but going back to the 180 degree, it feels more like a 360. I don't know where I'm going with this. The point is, I'm happy, I'm calm, I'm feeling good, and I'm starting to feel even better, similar to how I felt as a kid. That said, I am an adult, a grown man who has autonomy, agency, and is living in London and not in a small town in Oregon anymore. And that has been quite a transformative acknowledgement of where I am. It was not easy. Like, just to get to London in the first place, man, like, for those of you guys who don't know my whole story, is, well, I'll keep it brief with you. I did my first year of American high school, and I was just like, it was not where I wanted to be. My home life wasn't great, and I didn't want to be in my small town forever, let alone much more longer than I needed to. And so after freshman year, I went to enroll at, after my freshman year, I enrolled in another high school. And yeah, I mean another high school. I went to Corvallis High School, which is a regular curriculum. You know, you go at your instruction pace, and you have your, you know, really structured classes and lessons. And then I went to College Hill High School, which is where you are given a syllabus. You are expected to accomplish a certain amount of tasks, assignments a day. And once you finish those, then you can go. However, you could also do more. And that's what I did, is I did more and more. So much more that I moved from Oregon to London to do a 6-month screen acting course at the Met Film School. Then I went back to the States, but something felt wrong, like something felt off. I needed to come back to London instead of go to Santa Monica College and then USC and California. So I called my mom and she helped me make it. And so I enrolled for a media and communications degree at the University of West London. That was a 4-year degree because I didn't really do really well on the ACE. So I had to take foundation year, which was all right with me being an American and all. I was already mentally prepared to do 4 years. So, and then, you know, the panorama happened during that time. It highlighted and accelerated a lot of things about me that were broken and needing attention. And it just, like, I didn't know much about my identity. I was adopted. My family, my parents all kind of did stuff that was pretty shitty. There was not, yeah, it was just like everyone handled everything quite horribly, and I'm the one who had to pick up the pieces, live with it, and do my best to try formulating my own identity and my own narrative about who I am and where I come from. After the panorama 2022, I moved back to Oregon, where I worked as an educational assistant for a little bit, and then I worked for the Oregon State Legislature, which was amazing. That's what convinced me to do the degree that I would later do on, but still focusing on the educational assistant and Oregon State Legislature. It's kind of like a full circle moment, because after I left the legislature, I left for two main reasons. One was I was facing racial discrimination. In fact, my first video that I posted on this channel was me talking about that from my little cramped basement apartment in Washington, D.C. Yeah, because I moved to Washington, D.C. Well, quite frankly, after I was driving across the country and really just trying to find my place in this world and really get a better understanding of the rest of the country, because I had only really been on the western states. I hadn't really left my bubble, and so it was amazing. I had gone to 46 states, and I kind of used DC as like my home base and stuff. I was trying to find work there, couldn't really. I got part-time, if that, job walking dogs, which was a good release. And, you know, slowly but surely I was building myself back up, and creating this channel was a huge lever in doing that, in allowing that, and enabling me to get better. And, you know, the foundation, bare necessities, and then build my way back up from there. So anyway, due to huge influence, my time though working at the Oregon State Legislature, because even though I experienced discrimination, it was only from my mentor and my manager. Everyone else, all the lawyers, analysts, committee assistants that I worked with, everyone else, lovely, very supportive, and some of the lawyers and analysts even helped me get into the program, which I am about to graduate from come this November. I was able to get into the University of Westminster to study international law, and that was like the best decision for me, because I knew I wanted to move back to London, but I had to go back home to the States and really figure some stuff out first, because my soul was dying. That sounds hyperbolic, very exaggerated it sounds, but it was the case. Like my soul was dying, and I needed to have some answers, and so I did that. moved back here a year ago. Had to my first 2 weeks I was staying in a hostel, and then I ended up moving into Chapter Portobello, which is where I had been living previously, and I had to share a room. It was not ideal. You guys know all of that by now. And, this it was really hard getting readjusted to life here, making new friends, and accepting that some people that I thought were my friends, for whatever reasons, are just unable to entertain me in their life and what have you. And so it was really weird because there were some people that I thought I was going to be, still connected with, and that didn't happen. But I also have found a lot of inner peace, and I've enjoyed myself, my time. I like spending time with myself way more than I did the year prior. And so, yeah, so classes end, I still have my dissertation, and I'm just like working on that, out and about in the Pacific Northwest, and also just reminiscing on like all the stuff that I got done. I did rugby. I At the same time as I was socializing, I was going out, I was doing my best to get resituated and really push myself hard, because I have high expectations of what I can accomplish. And I've been able to accomplish a lot of stuff, and it takes a village. I don't want to just say like, oh yeah, I'm just so great, I'm just accomplishing everything, W after W after W. My parents, my family is very important, and that especially help support me through all this time, this horrible time that all of us are going through financially and economically, and prospects of like a good lifestyle are just kind of fading away, very much so. And so it's been a jam-packed year for me. It's 25 has been the most eventful age and year for me than what I can remember in recent memory, honestly, before I even became an international kid. Nah, I'm 26. I've never understood. I keep on telling people I sound like a wound up clock, but I've never understood people who didn't want to get older or didn't see the value in it, because I'm so much happy. Like, when I was so happy that I was 21, and I would take that over being 18, 19, 20 any day. And when I turned 25, that's how I felt about literally every single year underneath me. And this is how I feel today at 26, is I literally wouldn't want to be at any other age. I'm very content with how old I am. I know that I pay a lot of attention to what I need to grow and improve myself as an individual. And every single day, near every single day, I'm really invested. Like, I may not always be doing stuff, but I really spend each minute of every day. And I acknowledge it. And that's why when I look back at like, it was like, I can look at those hard times, those trials and tribulations. But I look at those hard times also as someone who, when wasn't dealing with grief and sadness or just general anxiety and stress, I was in the moment, and I was willing to trust the process, because it is not the destination that matters. It's the journey to this very day. But yeah, I have no idea what this next year necessarily holds for me. I know I have plans, and I want to eventually get a training contract so I can work for a law firm, and then later get my qualifications to be a practicing solicitor attorney. I know that I want to start a vegan, gluten-free, soy-free cinnamon roll company, which for you guys may sound like it's coming off from left field, but this has been something that I've been actually thinking about for quite some time now. And Thailand is calling me. I really want to go to Thailand. I don't know how I'm going to make it happen, seeing that I don't really have a job. I technically do, but it's zero contract hours. And if you don't know about zero contract hours, it basically means, hey, you're an employee of ours, but we're not going to guarantee you any shifts any week. Make yourself available and we'll see. Since coming back from my summer holiday vacation, whatever you want to call it, I've not been given any shifts. I did have a 2-hour training thing that everyone else was doing at the beginning of this month, but other than that, no, I haven't been. But I was already naturally looking for other work, so let's just like fingers crossed that we get something going on. But yeah, either way, 26 for me is going to be a special time. But you know what? I might be biased because I feel like every single year I get older, it's a special time. I do know that this year, whatever life throws at me, and I'm not going to be acting all like, I know, like, life is unpredictable, right? Like, something really shitty, horrible is likely and could happen, but that hasn't really changed much. Like, in the sense that I could arguably look at every other year of my life and say, oh, you were really put through the ringer in that one. So I'm not saying it's not going to be the case here, but yeah. 25. When you're 25, you're a quarter century old, man. Like, it's provocative to say. It's provocative to say, but I welcome it. And also, depending on when and where you see me, because I went out the other night. I don't know if I'm going to put it in a vlog, but I went out the other night. Some people thought I was 21. I was like, thank you. No, I'm actually turning 26. But you know what they say, black don't crack. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. I know it was more like me, like just talking about what my last year has been and what my journey has been, and the kind of like and kind of just like what my goals are for this, what I've been doing for this channel. And you know, I know that vlogs or whatever this thing is that we're doing isn't popping off. I know that's not what YouTube is looking forward to. But I am really content in just doing what we're doing and, you know, steadily, slowly, but surely growing our community. I have a lot of ambitions and I want everything that I put online. It doesn't have to be serious, but I want it to be genuine. I don't want when I run for governor of Oregon in some time in the future. I still want these up. I still want people to see my journey, my mental health journey, my fitness journey. You know, but I only want to, but that's only going to be possible if I'm genuine and true to myself and honest and not just doing silly stuff to do silly stuff to garner attention and stuff. So if this is your type of vibe, thank you so much for supporting me. Please like the video, press the notifications so you're notified of all the future upcoming videos I'm going to be posting. And yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm so happy to be sharing this day with you guys because, quite frankly, as I said earlier, I like being by myself. I might see a friend or two later today. I wanted a few more people because I wanted to do like a housewarming thing because, as you can tell from the change of background, I moved out of Chapter Portobello and now I'm in my own place. And again, it's a flat, so there's not much of a tour, but I'll show you guys around in a little bit in another video about this place. But just know that I couldn't be more happy where I am, the neighborhood in particular. And I have a fucking oven. I didn't think I was gonna have an oven. Okay, quick, let me just get this off my chest. So I think this was probably in the thick of the pandemic, but it might have been something I was like thinking about, like, I don't know, in my late teens. I was like, by 25, Ricky, you're going to live in a place that has a motherfucking oven. And then when I moved into Chapter this past year, I didn't have an oven. I didn't have the counter space to get one either. What is it called? A toaster. I didn't even have like space for that. So now I have an oven. I moved into this place not even a month ago, honestly. It was like 25 days ago. Yeah. And so technically I moved in while I was still 25 and got an oven. So it's worth it. I'm just giddy about that. Okay, guys. I will talk to you in the next video. Peace and love. Okay.